Well, good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are ready for an awesome session. Welcome this evening. We'll be going. This is blog building number 2. And if you remember last week on the session, what we did is we went over 2 subjects. We went over basically going through and talking about your niche. And of course, can't really stress how much important niche is to you. And the number 2 thing that we went over, we really went through taking you through many different, very slowly going through and looking at the site and picking out your theme. Well, this week we're going to be doing a similar format. I'm going to talk to you just for a moment here live, and then I'm going to pop over to a presentation in another window, take you through some slide links, and we're going to be going over the lead magnet. Now, the lead magnet absolutely is the most important part of your site and something many people leave out because it will really majorly increase the amount of opt-ins you get on the lead magnet. And then once we go through that, I'm going to take you through, share my screen, and I'm going to post an actual blog post. And I'm going to take you through from the beginning all the way to the end of doing the blog post. And by doing that and taking you through all the way from the beginning to the end, you're going to see really the basics of how to put something up on the blog. But on the beginning of it, everything's going to make sense. And at the ending, when I go through and show you how I optimize it, how we share it on social networks, this is something that probably you will want to refer to this video later on in the course when you actually start doing some of the social sharing. But I thought it would be important if I took you through and showed you the entire section and showed you from start to finish how we create a blog post, from writing it, putting on the blog, adding images, and going through the whole thing. So you're going to see an awful lot tonight. It's going to be a very detailed session. So again, so glad you guys are here. And what we're going to do first is I'm going to switch over my presentation, go over to the blog building bootcamp PowerPoint. We'll pop through that for a while. I'll talk on that. And then we're going to go from there over to the computer browser and take you through the website. So sit back and relax. Again, we are going to meet in the Facebook room immediately following the training tonight to give you guys some feedback. And of course, we'll be talking to you individually over the next couple of days, just like we did last week. We had a great week, our first week of blog training. This is going to be week number 2. And of course, all these sessions are recorded. We're also putting up in replays and evergreen webinars for you to watch them again when you need to. So if you miss something, don't hesitate to go back to the jimfolford.site and check it out. So let's go ahead. Let's pop over to our PowerPoint. Let me share that. Okay, great. All right, so again, as the slide said, this is blog training number 2. And looks to me like I shared the entire screen over there, and that's actually probably okay for what I'm going to do tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it on the entire screen instead of my PowerPoint. So maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger so that you can see it a little bit better over there. Let me do that real quick. Make this a little larger, and then you can probably see a little better. There we go. All right. So what we're going to be talking about, two concepts, a lead magnet and the creation of content. Now, a lead magnet is a thing that many people leave off on the site. And of course, you really don't want to do that because it is the number 1 most important part of your site, because the purpose of your site is to generate leads. And you really can't do that very well without a lead magnet. And what a lead magnet basically does is offers your prospects a very quick solution in exchange for their email address. So this is the thing that actually says people, hey, I'm interested, give me your name, and it allows them to come and lead a prospect. And what you're going to find out is you have many people that come to your site, read your stuff, but you never have their name. And so you can't assume that the only people on your emailing list are actually coming to your site. You're going to find out that some people will come to your site every day to see what's happening, look at it, and you'll get fans, people from your Facebook pages. And of course, until they actually give you the name, you really won't know it. Now, on your lead magnet, you do want it available everywhere on your site. You want it on your about page and on your home page and at the bottom of every blog post. We'll talk about that more in a moment. But it's going to dramatically increase the amount of opt-ins that you get. What you're going to find out is that people will come in, and probably it's not just 10 or 20%. It's usually 3, 4, 5, 6 times higher ratio of people actually give your name when you do exchange them something of value as a lead magnet. And of course, as I mentioned last week, all marketing, the purpose of it is to generate a lead. So we don't want to. So what we're going to talk about tonight first is how to create an irresistible lead magnet and kind of give you some ideas. Now, basically a lead magnet is something that you give your website visitors in exchange for joining your email list. There usually be a free report, but they can be a discount. They can be a 10 or 15% discount off a product if you're a store. They can be an evaluation. There's many different things that you can do. And of course, that's going to be really most of your homework this week is going to be to figure out what your lead magnet is. Now, here's kind of a couple examples of that. Here's someone saying, hey, sign up now, and I'm going to give you a countdown guide. On the left is going to say, hey, you're going to get your secrets to success with Google AdWords. That would be someone teaching you about AdWords. Another one is a newsletter sign up that's saying, hey, I'm giving you 50 great e-commerce ideas. And so these are just some different examples, and there's hundreds of these. You see these all the time on the internet, and you're familiar with seeing them, but you probably have not really experienced them from the other end, being the person that's creating them and then sending them to people. But again, these can be forms that pop up and take over your entire screen. They can be just slide in from the side. There's many different ways they can be served. And of course, people realize that to many people are irritating, but on the other thing that also they use them because they're extremely effective. And then at the same time, what we'll do on our website, so we'll show you how to make them less irritating. We'll be using technology so it'll show it to people only once every 7 days or once every few days, only after they've been on your page for 45 seconds, different ways to do that. So it's not in their face all the time. And you can totally choose that. But again, you do want to be, once you've added information and they shared value, you really do want to be asking them for that. And really, the best thing to do is I want you to think about the work that you've done to drive traffic to your site. You spend a lot of time going out there creating a blog post. Once you created a blog post, you actually went out there and shared it on social media. You might have emailed your list out. You did a lot of work to get someone to your site. If you really don't end up capturing the information, you're really wasting that traffic. Especially think about maybe you might be doing pay-per-click ads, and people are coming to your site you're paying for, but if you're not taking the time to grab them as lead magnet, you're really wasting what you can do with them. And so you really do want to do it. Now, as far as what makes a good lead magnet, you're going to want something that gets the attention of the people that come to your site. It needs to be addressing their biggest fears, problems, challenges. It needs to be something that's useful to them. And it also needs to tell them the thing they really want to know. Now, one thing about lead magnets is this is one of the areas where it's okay to really put some fear into people. And what I mean by that is that all motivation in people really relates to people, getting pleasure or avoiding pain. That's the reasons people do stuff. And so, for example, I was on a nice website the other night that was done by it was a pet website. And of course, what their lead magnet was it was something that talked about all the toxic different products that would kill your pets in the pet foods. And their lead magnet said, hey, we will give you a list of the 27 pet foods that are known to contain harmful toxins and how to avoid them and stuff. And so, I'm there thinking about my pet and thinking, I don't want my pet to be eating those bad foods. And so that's an good example of using fear to make you take an action. Also, that's a good one because, again, that's something I'm interested in, but it's not something that I could easily find. That's really the type of things that you want that makes up for a good lead magnet. Now, your goal is to find out what does your site visitors really want to know, and you want to put yourself in their shoes. So, that's really going to be the first part of your homework is to think through your niche, think who's coming to your thing. And this is going to be really different for all of you because you've got very different niches that we've talked about in our class so far, many different reasons, and each of you are going to have different things. So you're going to think about the thing that they really want to know, and then you're going to figure out anything that they're asking for that's easy to find. So for example, you really don't want to have a lead magnet as the top 5 weight loss tips because it's pretty easy for someone to Google and find top 5 weight loss tips. That's something easily find. You want to do something that's much more difficult for them to find, so on those things. And so that's what you want to be thinking about and get rid of. You want to make sure it's simple. Also, you don't really want it to be long. You want to find something that's information that you really can't find anywhere except by giving them your name. Because if they can easily search and find it somewhere else, they're really going to not want to exchange your name for it. So you really want to think what's information that it really is related to your niche, and you're going to be able to deliver it to them very succinctly in a 1 or 2 page document, something very easy. Now, also, shorter is better. Your lead magnet should be no more than 5 pages long. Maybe 2 pages or less is even better. And the reason for that is your readers, they don't want to work that hard. They really don't want to have to go through a 42-page report to learn what you're trying to teach them. The quicker and the shorter that you can give that to them, the better off you're going to be. Also, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make it a PDF. So you're not going to want to put it as a Word document. You're going to want to make a PDF. That's going to be very easy for them to share. It may get passed around. Also, you're going to want to make sure that your document has your logo, your website address, your contact information, because whenever it gets shared with someone, you want them to come back to your site for more information as well. Also, PDF prevents people from changing it and just editing it and putting it on their site. Another thing you want to do is you want to make it visual. At the very least, add a logo. And I'm going to give you just a real simple idea of how this can work. So, for example, one of the lead magnets on my website is basically 20 sources for leads, offline and online. And this is a Word document that I created and that really just went through those different sources and listed them out. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is like a 4-page document. But what I wanted you to look at is I'm someone that don't have a lot of ability to do design work, but I went on to Fiverr.com and actually hired someone that spent $10 to get them to design, and I asked them to take my Word document and make it look nice. And so what they actually did is created a template, and here you can see now they've got a template, and it's kind of hard to see, but in the background there's a watermarked images of a team of people standing on each other's shoulders. He's got the blue things in the top. It's got my little logo and my slogan at the bottom. And this was nice because now this looks much more like something that you would expect that would be a professional download versus just a document. And it was that easy to turn into it just by someone going out there and making it visual and putting a little more on it. Of course, I could have done even better if I would put some more graphics and images and that kind of stuff. So what your first homework is going to be this week is going to be to sit down and just put a little time into writing your lead magnet. And the reason I said 25 minutes here, if you can take your thing, lead magnet is something that you're probably going to take, an hour to 2 hours to create the thing from the beginning to the end of it. Because you got to end up coming up with the ideas. You got to come up with them, figuring out what makes for a lead magnet. You're going to end up writing the text for it. You're going to end up doing some research. Then you're going to end up formatting it, then making things. So it's going to take a couple of hours to get done. And those are the kind of things when you really think, hey, it's going to be this is a lot of work. It's easy to put them off. If you'll put it down and just chunk it down into some 25-minute increments, what that's going to allow you to do is make some major progress, keep the distractions aside, and really make a big difference on those things. So I want you to, that's going to be one of your first homeworks, is to really spend some time doing that. Now, the next thing I'm going to go over after the lead magnet is I'm going to go through content creation, but I thought I also might want to show you how a lead magnet works as well, and I'm going to show you some things. So let's kind of go through and talk about a couple things. We talked about last week, when you create content, your content is really what's going to make you an authority, and it's going to be what makes you an expert in your niche. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to teach others with your content. So all of your articles should be designed to teach people. And of course, the best way to teach them is for you to learn it yourself. And by learning it yourself and sharing it, that's how you're going to do that. And of course, your blog is the way that you're going to do that. And you really do want to make the content something that your niche is interested in. It's going to solve a problem, provide an answer. And I'm going to kind of give you an example of that this week, because I'm going to take you through the entire process of building a blog post. Now, you're also going to, this week, I want you to create your lead magnet, and you're also going to write your very first blog post. And of course, I'll be able to help you with both of these. Of course, my job is going to be doing the technology and connecting your lead magnet up to your website and connecting it up to your mailing list so it all works. Your job is going to be doing all the creation and coming up with it. So I'm not going to be doing any of the writing for you, but I will try to help you come up with something good. And of course, that'll be part of what we're doing in our blog boot camp. Now, next week's training, what we're going to do is we're going to go over search engine optimization, and you're going to see just a little bit of that tonight. And again, when you see that, that's when you probably tonight are going to feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose, and you're getting a little more information than you really wanted to know. But again, I thought if I showed you the entire process from beginning to end, then it's going to give you an idea of how much more doable the site is, because I'm going to take you through the process from beginning to end to creating a blog post and even sharing it on social media. And as I do that, you're going to see that really and probably I'll be able to go through it in about 15 minutes. With the writing of the article, this was something that took me about an hour. And you're going to find out that that's really, you can actually spend an hour a day or less and get your blog post done, everything shared, thing. And so if you want to do that once a day or once a week, your frequency is going to be up to you and what makes sense for your niche. But if you see the whole process, it's going to give you a much better idea of what's going to be involved in it. Also want to remind we are going to do our Thursday Q&A call at the same time, same phone number, same code. And if you missed last week's, we didn't record this, but this was one of the most fun phone calls. We went through, everybody got to talk, everybody got to share their thoughts on their niche. It was a great call. We got to meet each other, which was important because, again, we're going to become a tribe and be sharing each other's content. And just having everybody share their stories was great. So we're going to get a little more of that on this Thursday night as well. So what I want to do now is I'm going to pop over and I'm going to show you a couple of documents first. Since I've got the screen shared, it'll be kind of a little easier to do that. So I'm going to pop up a Word document. And if you remember last week, I went through and I told a story about the work that Peggy and I had done to why we created our blog in the first place. And that was it was really the first 8 minutes or the first 9 minutes of last week's training, the part where I was talking. And I looked at that story and I thought that story would make a really good blog post. So I actually took the recording of that and I sent it off to a company called Rev. And what Rev did is they took the transcription of mine and they typed up the entire document. And so you can see this was an 8-minute talk of mine. And so they charged me $8 to do that. But again, if I zoom into this, you would see that this is not something that you would want to just put online, because it looks pretty much kind of like it pretty much, for example, here's the beginning of, hey, I wanted to give you a story that would help set the framework and let you understand about the whole blogging thing came to be. So it's funny because what you can say can sound great, but if you write it down word for word, it doesn't look like it's very well written at all. So what I normally do is I take this document and then I will go and take it and create another document, a Word document. And on this Word document, I will take the things and I will put some headings in there and I will go through it and read it and write it. And of course, by doing that, I'm able to really turn it into a narrative and a story that makes sense. So this is going to be the text of the blog post we're going to create tonight. It's called Blogging for Business. And I'm going to be taking this content and I'm going to be putting it into the Jim Fulford blog, and we're going to be formatting it, we're going to be pasting it, we're going to be sharing it, and it's going to end up coming up with a great little story. In fact, I would recommend you guys go through and read this after you get done, even though you heard much of it last week on the webinar. It's also going to say, so you can see it's a nice long document, and then there's an image. This is an image that I picked out that I want to use for my post. So, but it's not necessary. Many people just type right into their blog. What I recommend you do is I would recommend when you do write your blog, go ahead and write it in Microsoft Word first. And the reason for that is that a lot of times when I'm writing a blog content, I need to go and do some keyword research. I look something up on Google. I then also might find a website, and I'm constantly clicking on and off trying to get the best information together. And of course, if you do that, it can become quite easy to lose your page on your site. And if you just only typed it up on your blog, you could go and you could lose it. And of course, losing your blog work makes you cry. So we're doing it in Word prevents that. Now, one of the nice things is your WordPress will automatically save your work every 10 minutes and help prevent you from doing some of that. But it's going to be much less painful for you if you do it. Now, I'm going to pop over next and I'm going to change the screen that I share. And by doing that, I'm going to share my web browser so I can take you through the entire process. Go ahead and share screen. This is going to take me a moment to find this. And this time I want to share this slide here, share. All right, so what we're going to do now is I am now on the homepage of the jimfulford.com website, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to walk you through the process of creating a blog post. Now, there's many different ways to go in and add a post. You can click the little new button up top and add a post, or when you're on your web page and you go to the section that says post, you can do add new. But anyway, when you add a new post, what's going to happen, it's going to come up and it's going to ask for the title and it's going to ask for the content. So I'm going to go ahead, and the title for this is going to be Blogging for Business. Again, so since I've typed it ahead of time, I'm just going to be copying it and pasting it over here from my Word. And so there's that title. And then I'm going to grab the entire article over in Word. Let's do select all, copy. I'm going to come into my blog and I'm going to do a paste. Okay, and so I'm gonna, and so I've pasted that in there. Now, what I'm gonna do next is go through it, and I'm gonna make some of these headings. So you can see heading 2 on some of these things. I made heading 2s. I'm gonna go through and get rid of some of the extra spaces. And so I'm gonna just do, and I kind of like this these indents. So I'm gonna indent these lines here a little bit. Actually, I'm going to make them all the same. It'd be quicker to get rid of the indents probably, so I'm going to do that. Okay. And so I'm going to pop through. If you watch me, you're doing right. All I'm doing right now is just going through and I'm getting rid of some of the extra spacing that gets put in there when you paste from Word. This is just pretty common when you paste in something from Word. It'll end up sticking in some extra stuff. So I'm going to get rid of the spacing in front of bigger. And backspace, 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 backspace. And backspace, backspace. So again, this is a pretty long article. Now, again, that's a good thing to talk about because even though it's funny because this was only, remember, 8 minutes of talking. And as you can see, when it was typed up on the bottom, this was turned into an 1,896 word blog. Now, that's going to be really good news for most of you because what you're going to find out is for your blog to perform well, it really only needs to have at least 300 words. So even though this is one that's got almost 2,000, as long as your blog's got 300 words of length, it's going to work okay. And you'll see more about that in a moment. Okay, and let's go ahead and back that up. Well, this is a long thing. So, and the final subject is getting clear on your niche. So again, now, so far, all I've done is I've pasted in the text that was typed in, and I pasted it into my thing. And my puppy dog is going to wanting to get in the door over there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save Draft. And I'm going to let him in. All right. So I'm going to save the draft. And of course, if I want to preview the post, I can hit preview and it's going to show me what it's going to look like. And so here you can actually see as we scroll through the contents of it. Now, you'll notice that there's no image. I haven't added my image yet. So I'm going to go back into it and I'm going to pop back over. And down on the bottom, we talked last week about a featured image. I'm going to do set featured image. It's in the bottom right. And the image I haven't uploaded yet, so I'm going to come to upload files. I'm going to select, and I think I've got this on my hard disk over here. If I don't, I will save it. There's business blog. So I'm going to take this image and I'm going to open it. And it's going to upload. And of course, when it uploads, this process can sometimes take anywhere from 5 seconds to 60 seconds, depending on the theme that you pick One of the reasons this takes a long time is what the theme is doing with that image right now is it's going through and converting it to many different sizes. And so it's creating a large image, a medium-sized image, small image, thumbnail, square thumbnails. It makes actually, my particular theme makes about a dozen different images when I upload one. You don't have to worry about any of that, but it does, as you can see, it took a moment to do that. So I'm gonna hit set featured image. And so now by having a featured image here, when I go back and I'm gonna save it again, and I'm gonna preview the post, you're gonna see now you've got this nice image, and that's also what's going to come up in our social media sites and those things. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But now you're looking, the blog is pretty much just about done. It all looks really nice, and I've got the image. One more thing I'm gonna do before I publish it. I'm gonna pop back over, and I'm going to talk to you about search engine optimization for a moment. Now, I'm going to use as this, see what's blogging for business. I'm going to use that as a keyword. Now, again, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, and you're probably going to have 50 questions on it. And so absolutely, if you want to write them down and talk to them when we talk offline, and you will learn this only by doing it, and it's going to make sense. But I think if I demonstrate it to you, you're going to see the reason we've got tools to help us make things easy. Now, when I scroll down here, see this section here? That's showing you exactly what the Google would look like when it grabs this page if I don't do anything. And in this focus keyword, I'm going to put blogging for business. And what it's doing, it's going to go through and it's going to say, hey, you're already at a green circle, which means you've done a really good job on putting it in your content. And then it's going to come through on the bottom, and it's going to give me all these different things. And so you can see it's going to say your text has got 1,900 words. It's well over 300. That's good. You haven't used this focus keyword before. That's good. It appears in the link to the page. So all the green ones means it's good. Now, the orange ones are things where it's not great, and the red ones are things you really want to correct if you want Google to really pay attention to your site. And so let's take a look at the first one. It's talking about the no meta descriptions. And so what's going to happen is Google's just going to copy what's on your page instead. And that's what's talking about in this section here. This is the meta description. And this is the title. So what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to go through and I'm going to find something that I think would work good there as a description of the page. And I usually just kind of look up in the page and find something that talks about, so we're talking about blogging for business. Let's see. I want to just grab this first sentence there. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to come in down here to this little section, and I'm going to paste that in. And so that's a meta description. Now what that means is that's what Google's going to show now. I'm also going to edit the title, and I'm going to put blogging for business. Now, if you looked at it, that little red circle, the first one went away. Now it says you haven't used this focus heading in any subheadings on your copy. Well, that's talking about your subheadings are all of these black things. So get clear on your niche. It's not all a bed of roses, more benefits than we realized. Well, what Google knows is that when you have an article and you've got a section that's got the keyword in it, it probably talks about that section. And so the headings give you even more weight than do just the things. And so, so we've got, blogging for business as a title, and we've got blogging for business inside the text. It's telling me you don't have one inside of any of these H2 tags. So I'm going to take a look through here and find one or two that will work. So when we started our home business, so I could say when we started, blogging for business. And pay-per-click too expensive. Finally, a site that works, too expensive. What else can we do? Organic traffic really helps, okay? Okay, so now what I've done is I've actually added our keyword in the 2 headings. And so that is another red circle that's gone. The next one, it says the keyword's a bit low. It's only found 2 times. And of course, that's going to increase in a moment since I put it in there a couple of times. The images don't have the alt tag. So that's a good thing. Let me go and show you what they're talking about there. This is an image. And if I come into the image, this is an alternate text. That's what's going to come up when someone is on a mobile browser or maybe doesn't have the ability to show images. And so if you put your keyword in as alternate, that is going to be one more mention of the keyword on your page. And of course, as you saw when I did that, that circle immediately went away. It says the page title contains 21 characters is less than the minimum. So again, I'm going to say blogging for business, how to grow your own business. So again, this is what Google is, you're going to see when you search Google. So now it says that's better. The page contains one more stop words and no outbound links per page. So anyway, you can see that overall, it's got a nice green circle and we've corrected just about everything. And that's going to make it work really nicely when Google comes and picks up our page. So I'm going to say at this point, I'm done. I'm going to publish the article. Oops, I spelled something wrong. Blogging for business. Did I do it twice or just wrong? Blogging for business. Okay, so hopefully I didn't spell it wrong. Update that. All right, so now since I hit the publish that time, it's no longer a draft. It's actually really is a page on my site now. And if I want to view it, I'm going to be able to view the post. And so here's my post, my image, and those things. So that's basically gone through and created an entire blog post start to finish. But I'm going to do one more step. I'm going to go through and share this on your social media to show you how that works. Now, if you see right now on my thing, it says this thing has never been shared. And you should always be the first one that shares your post. So I'm going to go to Facebook and click here. And it says, do you want to share it on your own timeline or in a group? So I'm going to go ahead and put this in a group. And then it's asking for the group. I'm going to do the blog building bootcamp group. And I'm going to say, this is a great story about the trials we went through and we started our first blog. And I'm going to copy that just in case I want to use that again. And you can see what's going to happen is this is what it's going to look like in the group. So I'm going to go ahead and I read through that. That all looks pretty good. I'm going to share a link. And I can also, let's suppose I want to share it on my on a different Facebook page. I make share it on not on a page that I manage. And so I'm going to share it on the Jim Fulford page, and I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to say the same thing on that. And hit share link. Actually, this window you may not be seeing this link. I don't know if you're seeing it as it pops up. And then the next one is going to be LinkedIn. I'm going to click on the LinkedIn. And the LinkedIn is a little bird, the Twitter, and so I'm going to tweet this page. So when I click on that, and it comes up and it wants me to sign in to Twitter, so let me go and log in. Okay, so now I'm logged into Twitter, and it's got my thing already. So I'm going to paste the same thing in there, Control V. And it says I'm 6 characters too long, so I'm going to just I'm going to start with hashtag. Okay, so now I'm going to tweet that. I'm going to go over to LinkedIn and click next. I'm not signing to LinkedIn either, looks like, so it's going to ask me to sign in. And I'm going to share the same comment about that. Share. And then I'm going to go over to Google+. And Google Plus is a little different social media platform. You can share a little more information on Google Plus. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share the same thing on Google Plus and share. And Pinterest is the last one I'm going to do. Pinterest is a kind of an interesting new little page, so I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to share the same thing, and I'm going to pin it to a board. So I'm going to pin it to my leads board in Pinterest. Again, that's a lot more social media things. But if you're noticing, you're now showing that this post has been shared 4 times. And I'm going to pop over to Facebook and let you kind of see from the other end what this looks like. So if I go to Facebook and go to the Blog Building Bootcamp, there it is. There's the Blog Building Bootcamp. There's the post that I shared. Remember, I also shared it to a page that I manage, which was the Jim Fulford page. If I go to that page, you're going to see, here's the Facebook page, and here's that post that I shared there. If I logged into my Twitter account, let me go to my page here. There's my blogging for business, and so you can see my tweets there. So you're, again, once you have these social icons on the page, it's going to be very easy for you to share them on all the social platforms. And at the same time, one of the nice features about this thing, when I scroll up on the page, these things stay on the top of the page, and you could come up and share. Now, of course, that was me sharing them, and of course, I got 4 shares or 5 shares that way. You're going to find out that you really want your readers to share, and this is what I'm going to be wanting you guys to do as well, is share and comment on the post, because just like if you're sharing it, you can come down and add comments to the post as well. You can add a comment through here, or even through Facebook comments here, and comments are going to be what we want to do to create engagement, because engagement is what Google is going to reward. So again, that was a lot of information, but if you, at the same time, if you watch, that really took us less than 20 minutes. That was me talking about it, and it showed you the entire process, start to finish, going through and creating content, and then when you're creating your content, sharing it, posting it. And so what your job is going to be this week is going to be create your very first blog post. So even if you haven't got your theme picked out yet, I want you to create up your blog post, something about your niche. I will help you do that. And of course, by actually going in and doing the new post button and just typing something in, don't worry about all the nice little search engine stuff that I showed you, but I do want to show you how that works and how this is built into all of your blog posts or your themes. That was the kind of things that your reasons you wanted me to help you with this stuff, because I can make all the search engine stuff work automatically behind the scenes, and you're going to be rewarded with Google, because now when you get in, in a few days, when you go type in blogging for business, then this article is going to come up, and it probably won't come on the front page of Google, but it might come on page 4 or 5. And even though there's going to be probably 10,000 pages out there that mention that one's going to come up pretty good, because it was indexed. It's new, it's relevant to my site. It's got a good user experience. It's got good keyword density. It's got all the things that Google wants. So it's going to give it a high rating, and it's going to treat it well. So again, what we want to do now is we've kind of gone through the lead magnet, and we're going through the information about creating a blog post. So that was really what I wanted to go through with all of you today. So what I want to do now is I'm gonna pop back over, and I want us to all meet us in the Facebook group Blogging Bootcamp. I'm gonna go ahead and stop my screen sharing. And of course, when I do that, it's going to pop my mug shot back up. So anyway, I want to go ahead and thank you guys for being on live tonight, where that was a 40-minute session according to the clock, and which is great. And that'll give us about 20 minutes to go hang out in our blog bootcamp on our Facebook group, and we can help you do that. So if you're online tonight and you're not part of the blogging bootcamp, if you'll send an email to jim@jimfulford.com, I'll go ahead and add you to the group, and then you can join us in the Facebook group live right now, where we're going to answer your questions and just have a little interaction. So hopefully everyone enjoyed the thing tonight. And again, next week, we're really going to go much more into the search engine optimization. So don't fret when we went through all that too quickly tonight. And we're going to also spend some more time on hooking your lead magnet up to your capture page, and making everything work. So good framework to design tonight. Great to have you guys online, and we'll see you soon over the Facebook group.